So now I'm going to talk about the Dieta. What is the Dieta? So on this path, the Dieta is the apprenticeship. So traditionally, you don't really learn from a teacher. They're more just holding your energies, holding your space, holding your diet connection, cleaning, aligning it. And what the diet is, the apprenticeship, is dieting plants, master plants of the jungle. And I think the reason they've been called master plants is just a permission slip of, we give them a permission slip to really make big transformations within us. And many people have worked within the traditions with certain plants and gained so much from them that they've thus been labeled master plants. So the Dieta apprenticeship practice is to diet a plant. Now, how do we diet a plant? So before I get into how we diet a plant and the apprenticeship, I just want to touch on what the Western world calls the ayahuasca diet. So the ayahuasca diet is something very different to what I'm talking about. Now, the Shipibo Kanibo is the traditions I follow to the best part. Although I'm not attached to any tradition in any way, I feel to not be fully open to any given way of working is just creating limitation in my life. So I'm not, that's not where I'm at, being stuck on tradition. However, this is the ayahuasca and dieta path that I've chosen to follow with the Shipibo Kaniba. So the ayahuasca diet for the Western world, which they do not do in the Shipibo Kaniba, is just because in the Western world we eat quite a lot of oil and salts, and we can eat quite unhealthy and processed foods. Is not the ideal space to be in when ingesting the plant ayahuasca. So this dieta was created just for people to clean out a little bit and gain a deeper connection, or to show respect, like a sacrifice, before meeting the medicine through that permission slip, to thus gain more from it. So that's not what this is. Okay. Now, the dieta, the apprenticeship, where I'll begin now is with foods. So I think it's a belief from our teachers, from our schooling, from our parents, and this belief that through sacrifice we gain more is a permission slip to gain more from the plants. And so with our teachers, do you know what I mean? And with our parents, if we misbehave, we get grounded, we get detention, and as a consequence, to encourage us to be good and adhere to any rules that have been put down on us. However, I don't follow rules today. I see a lot of unjust laws in the world, and I choose to drink ayahuasca in the Western world. So that would be breaking a law, breaking a rule, and I want to be authentic. So rules do not serve me anymore. So within our organization, we have guidelines. And if you follow the guidelines, you will get the very best out of the training, the very best out of your diet. However, with the plants, everything is up for negotiation. And I do my best to not teach from places of limitation or rules or restrictions in any way. So with the plants, the diet is forming a contract with the plants. So, and the contract can be negotiated with the plants. So for a beginner, the Shipibo Maestro will negotiate the dieta terms for you. And as you progress, and with the training I will share with you, you will be able to do that yourself after this training course. So it's all about purifying. So the food that we ingest is very, very basic. So there's no oil, there's no salt, there's no spice. It's very important to not have sex or masturbation. And to begin the diet, we begin with a purgative, which is an Amazonian medicine that we ingest to induce vomiting. And that really cleans out the stomach and creates an empty, clean space for the plant to join and grow within. So, what I found on this path and witnessing many other people come to the jungle is I witnessed a lot of struggle with the restrictions on the diet. And with that, I feel the shadows come to the surface and then start planting thought forms about fudge sundaes and all of this kind of stuff. And it's quite a distraction to the diet because we want to keep our thoughts very pure. So, what I've been shown by the plants and what traditionally is what they do is they would get into a place of ketosis within their diets. So, like traditionally, they'll just have like one dried fish and a small piece of plantain per day, and the carbohydrates content in that allows them to be in ketosis. Now, with ketosis, there's no hunger, and I feel the shadows within me, they feed on the sugar vibrations, so it empowers them. However, when in ketosis and low in carbs, they don't feed on that vibration. So I become super, super empowered and super, super open as a channel. I gain so much more from my diet. I'm so much more connected in this space and I'm not hungry anymore. So this is the diet with one of my guides, Noah Rao, that we've co-created for my organization, because most centers that cater for Westerners, the Westerners have complained so many times about the diet that they've renegotiated with the plants a certain diet with more foods, such as lots of soups and plantain and rice, and it's all high in carbs. And then the people coming through the camps are always hungry and kind of overeating. I witness people like having a meal and then like having 3 bowls of food at every opportunity. And it's not really ideal for staying in that channeling, deeply connected space that I talk about. So, so with the foods, with what I've co-created, is we will have 1 meal a day on this course, and the food will be very low in carbs to enable you to get into that place of ketosis and not face any hunger for the remainder of the course. Because my Shipibo teachers that have done years diets, they were not hungry at all because they were sticking to the traditional diet, which was in scientifically, in the way I see it, it's low in carbs. So it keeps them in that space and they don't have to be hungry anymore. So a diet I did last year was a 12-week Noya Rao diet. And this is where I learned all about this process. And I thought I would fast for 1 week. So water fasting, drinking water, no food. And after a week, I wasn't hungry. So I did another week, and I just wasn't hungry. And I ended up doing just over 10 weeks, 73 days without any food. And I felt super, super strong. I was walking every day. I felt more empowered and strong than I'd ever felt. It was really incredible. And Noira really showed me the benefits of ketosis for my students, because I don't want people to come and study and be in a place of suffering. I want my students to be in a place of joy, which is where I find myself today. 99.9% of the time with my daily practice, I can maintain that. And through all of my practices and long journey of awakening, which has been around 8 years or so, I really want to share this so that people can maintain that joy vibration and not have to be in a place of suffering. And so the diet and hunger needed to be brought in alignment with what I'm about. And the diet foods that I share um, will be a mixture of brown rice and broccoli, some plantain, and um, and eggs. And but for vegans, there are other options, and everything on my course is optional. Nothing has to be done a certain way, just that we need to discuss together um, any needs that you may have, and we can negotiate with the plants and find the most perfect method, food, ritual, or anything you could possibly need for you to be as comfortable as you can on the training courses. So, so with that, I'll step more into now the apprenticeship. So we've talked about the food for the diet, and so now we talk about more what the diet is. So once we've taken the purgative and had a good clean out, we will then have the next day we will have an opening ceremony, which is opened with an arcana. So an arcana is like a magic spell that's fueled by the plants of the maestro to keep your dieta empowered and safe throughout the duration of the apprenticeship. So once it's open, then the next day you will ingest the plant matter. And so the plant is simply, typically it's the roots of trees that we use, but it can also be leaves as well. So so what we'll do is we'll just leave that out in the sun, some chopped up wood or chopped up leaves, so that the plant essence can infuse into the water, and then that will be your dieta medicine. So there's two ways of doing this. One of my maestros will fast for the duration of ingesting the material. One of my other maestros will ingest the material at 7 o'clock in the evening, because it's very tranquilo at that time. And then we can sleep and like meditate and connect with it in the dream world. And he doesn't serve it on ceremony nights. And then you can have your food at noon each day. So there's two different ways of doing this. And so ingesting the material, what it's like, it's kind of like becoming pregnant. And this, you're planting a seed of this master plant within your belly, which starts to blossom and grow. And on my first Noirao diet, as this process was unfolding, I was in ceremony, and there was this like demonic kind of energy which was kind of attacking me, and I was a little bit scared. And at the beginning of the ceremony, I felt this pressure like building in my belly, and it continued to build throughout the ceremony. And it was kind of, it didn't feel like a purge was coming. I'd never experienced that before. And then when this demon was attacking me, my mouth just kind of opened, and this pure white light, cat-like yeti being flew out of my mouth and was flying around the room, and it pushed away this demonic looking being. And then I finally met Noya Rao, the diet that was growing within me. And it was very fascinating. It like absolutely blew my mind, like what the hell is going on. It was very incredible. And later on in the series, I'll be touching more further on the Noya Rao story and my personal story. So being it like a baby growing within us, like the diets are traditionally done in isolation, because we don't want the projections of others and the mirroring of others affecting the growth of our baby. And what can happen when others are projecting their shadows onto us, or like, I mean, it takes two to tango. Like, there's no victimhood. Oh, he's putting his shit on me. Like, they only can put their shit on us if we have something within us in resonance, and we may project on them so that they can mirror back to us. So like I said, it takes two to tango. I always take responsibility for any given energy that's surfacing within us. But traditionally, like I said, they're done in isolation to avoid that. Because when those energies come into the diet, it can bring the diet out of alignment, and it can start growing quite crooked. And there's two reasons. There's many more reasons, but the two main reasons of the importance of dieting with a maestro in the beginning is, number one, the arcana. So the arcana, like I said, the spell that's fueled from their plant energies, can prevent most energies from affecting the diet. The second side of thing is Shatana, which is like the dark side of the plants. Like we have duality, the plants have duality, although Noirao is something slightly different than that, which I'll touch on later. So in the diet, if we've been receiving projections or we have thought forms that are getting out of control and suppressing of emotions, that can bring the diet out of balance and potentially into Shatana. So as the maestro's singing in the ceremonies, forever cleaning and straightening these diet connections, and with the closing of the diet, he seals with another arcana, and that seals off anything from affecting the diet. So, like being on the diet, they talk of sacrifice, like as a permission slip, and again, I think this is from the belief of our teachers and parents. So, the more sacrifice we give, the more the plants will give us. It's like our parents will reward us for being good; they'll punish us for being bad. So, I feel that this stems from the beliefs we've been brought up and conditioned with throughout childhood and etc. But as most people still carry these beliefs, this concept of sacrifice can be hugely beneficial for the diet. So certain things we can do is like fasting, and some people do water fast. My maestro did a 30-day dry fast, no water, no food for 30 days. I don't recommend water fasts at all on this training course because we're going to be pretty hands-on with the teachings. But food fasts are great, and to limit any suffering, we can gain ourselves into a place of ketosis, which I highly recommend the students coming ensure that they arrive in a place of ketosis. Will get them off to a great head start on the course. So once in ketosis, then we can fast for long periods of time. And through that permission slip, we can gain more from the teachings of the plants. And keeping our thoughts as pure as we can, not projecting on others, and can all add to the diet. And there's many there's many modalities that I teach to aid and support this connection to the plants. And some people, when they finish their diet, they shave all their hair off as a sacrifice for the diet. Now, like not talking about Noirao, but talking about other plants. If we break the terms of the agreement of the diet, there can be consequences. And for a beginner diet, the consequences are not really there. But for someone that's been practicing for quite some time, there can be consequences. And like for a very experienced shaman that breaks a diet, he could like lose his sight. And for a fairly experienced person, they may lose their visions for some time. So again, I believe this stems from the belief of how we were brought up, and it's not necessarily a belief that holds true to me today. But we will support the students in uncovering any beliefs and coming into alignment to work on this path with the best way for them in mind, and sort of going to most retreats. It's kind of like a generic model they're putting out, and we aim to have a more individualized plan negotiated with the plants for any given participant. So the diet just because the diet is closed and arcanid, it never stops and it continues to grow and flourish. And they say after a year or so, the connection gets really, really strong. And and that's not dieting after the diet. Um, and so we can continue to learn from our diets. They can teach us in our dreams and in our ceremonies, and we continue to grow and flourish that relationship. And it's like relationships with our friends, like school friends, for example. We kind of stop talking at some point, because our paths go in different directions, and then there's not much of a relationship there anymore. And it's the same with the plants. So it's to continue to pray and sing and communicate with them on a daily basis to strengthen and grow that relationship. If we don't pay them attention, they can take a step backwards and not be so resonant in our life, although their power remains within us to channel and bestow on others as a permission slip for healing. um, the relationship can not be as strong without daily communication. So, with the closing of the diet, we have a post diet, and this is usually 30 days. And one of my friends explains it in this way, that if you have a relationship with a girl and it ends, you don't jump into bed with her friend the next day, because that would be deeply hurtful to her. And it's kind of the same with the plants. You've given up all these foods and relationships for the relationship for the plant, and now it's coming to a close. Although it continues to grow, that we don't jump into bed with everything we gave up so soon. So it's a slow process of slowly integrating other foods into our diets um, over a 30-day period. And we can negotiate this ourselves with the plants, something we will be teaching. But again, most retreat centers give a generic model to follow, which is not necessarily true for others. Having dieted so long and where my beliefs are now, I don't really have a post diet. However, I'm going to be on diet now for many, many years. So we'll see how that unfolds. But yeah, I think that's most everything I wanted to share on what the Dieta is, which is the apprenticeship, the study, and typically the plants are the teachers. They teach us this journey. Um, Traditionally, we can learn lots from teachers, reading books, documentaries, but then we can take that knowledge into the plants and see what they have to say about it. And all it is knowledge. But when we integrate it with personal wisdom, thus it then becomes wisdom. Through the integration through personal experience of knowledge equals and equates to wisdom. And the plants really aid and support me with any teachers outside of myself to really integrate or discern and let go of stuff that's not in alignment with me, or integrate and become wisdom which I hold within me. So I will close on that